Hello, this is Dan Hennon along with Greg, Catherine, and Sophia. Today is April 22nd, and we've got an update for the Crowley case relating to the phone records. Now, the phone records we've gotten via a FOIA request in the past, and that has all helped, and that's been very interesting. But the new thing that has come to light is when looking at David Crowley's personal account that he had, his cell phone account. And we need to remember that Anjum Alam had been paying for David Crowley's phone number, but in October of 2014, due to some rifts, Anjum Alam canceled the number, so David went out and got his own, created a brand new account. And so what we've got here, what Catherine and Sophia have discovered along with Greg's help, is the fact that after the bodies were discovered, is that the warrants were issued, the search warrants to go into the cell phone, AT&T cell phone records for David Crowley, and at that point his account was in a suspend mode, suspended because of the bodies were dead. Now recently we have activity on that account that it was never shut down or never closed. And what we've got on the screenshot here is that as of this day, I mean, we're talking April of 2019, that David Crowley's account is still active. That cell phone account is still active. I don't know what cell phone number, for instance, or what 10-digit cell phone number is being used, because I do believe, Sophia, you can help me out, that they can recycle the numbers if they're not used for a while. They can reissue them to someone else. But the account number itself would not be something that would be recycled. And in fact, when we pull it up, it still shows that David Crowley's name is on that account. And it's currently being paid on a monthly basis. So,
yes,
what can you say about that, Sophia?
Well, when I went in and talked with one of the reps, he told me that the phone number had been recycled, but the account number was still active. Now, on the 18th, which was Thursday, the account had been suspended on March 21st, 2019. And it was suspended for non-payment. But when I went back to a different store on April 19th on Friday, the account had been paid and it was active again. And he pulled up a screen where it showed payments all the way for the past year, back to March 2018. That was as far back as he could go in the store. And I mean, it's kind of important to find out why his account is still active and who has two phone lines on that account. Why do they still have them? Who's making the payment? And I mean, it's still active because as of the 19th, it was still active.
Yeah, because that's a lot of money to put into an account, $184 every month for 4 years. Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
Absolutely. It adds up.
Mm-hmm.
And needless to say, I was kind of shocked when I came across that information. I was not expecting that answer. I had gone in because of codes that we were researching. All four of us were researching, and just questions in regards to those codes, and come to find out that the account was still active and being used. That was just a little shocking, to say the least.
Yeah, when you called and told me that, it's like I sent Dan an email right away, and I'm like, we need to talk. It's like, what's going on here? Okay, this is not right. Something's off with this.
And that's and you mentioned $184 per month. If that was active this whole time, 4 years, that's 48 months. That total is $8,832 that that someone is using, unless it's just a random person that created an account called David Crowley. I don't buy that. But
no.
and like I said, it's not going to be recycled. Do you think that that account went dormant for some time after the killings and then someone just reactivated? But if they did, why would they use the name David Crowley?
Well, and again, like you said, Dan, it is the same exact account number, so they're not going to recycle an account.
Yeah, the old phone number pulled up with his name, but that account number is absolutely the same. It wouldn't change. It wouldn't be recycled, but it's all there.
And when I've been searching the phone numbers, the 4890 comes up, and even on anybody can do a Google search on that and pops up as David Crowley. And then when I pull up Kamel's phone number with the 0072, it says nothing can be found. So I found that interesting.
Yeah, and it shows if you look onto even the subscriber financial liability for AT&T, and it does show the date here, customer since 10/21/2014. This is when David Crowley called AT&T and set up his own account to get his own cell phone number after Mr. Alam canceled his. And so at the end of October, less than 2 months, roughly 2 months around allegedly the deaths, he did get his brand new account set up, assigned a new account number, and was paying the bills and everything else. And then after the bodies were found, you would think that that account would go dormant, and as part of the, I don't know if you'd call it, as part of the estate, for instance, would be shut down. Who's ever handling the account, the estate would be shutting down these accounts. And it does look like a couple months ago, whoever was doing it had forgotten to pay a month or two. And I think sometimes it takes maybe 3 months for it to actually get suspended or shut off. And so someone skipped a couple months, and now they've paid it again. So it is actually, this is what we're talking about is a current cell phone account with two, Sophia, was it two lines connected to this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that would be, if we're talking, $90 an account, two accounts, $180 bill every single month, that's $8,000. Who's paying that bill? Who's using it? And why in God's name is David Crowley's name on that account?
Yeah, and Sophia, didn't you find the account was actually in something called David T. Crowley, LLC?
That's what the gentleman at the store told me. And I don't see it on the screen, the shots that I was able to get, the two photos. I don't have the actual page that shows that, though.
But I mean, that's okay because, you had verbal proof, or someone verbally spoke to you and said that this account is registered under a David Crowley LLC.
Yes.
Not a Dan, not anything like that, but David, correct?
Yes, it had David's name, and it still has David's name, with the LLC after it.
And one thing to note here for this episode, we know that Mr. Alam also gave the cars to Kamel, and then David got one or Kamel, and they ended up changing the ownership. So at the time of death, I think both of those cars were still in Kamel's name officially, with titles in the state of Minnesota, and that one car then stayed, I guess, allegedly with Dan Crowley Sr. So he went through the effort to change the title and the insurance over to his own name there with that one car, but some may assume that this is Dan Sr. may have taken over this account, or Dan Jr., David's brother or his father, but you would think the first thing you'd want to do is either shut the account down altogether, because those two individuals already had their own cell phone service and cell phone accounts. They wouldn't have a need to be piggybacking off David's, but even if you did keep it, I would guess that you'd want the name changed off of David's, but...
Yeah, I mean, because legally, I'm not sure they can actually keep an account open in someone else's name. I mean, that then becomes, a tax liability. And so,
And to be able
it's
to get the
crazy.
lines, well, to be able to do any type of work on that account, whether it's to get a different phone or to call in with concerns, you need a passcode. You cannot get anywhere, whether on the phone or if you go into the store. They look up they look up the account. They can give you information in regards to who has that account, but that's it. You can't go any further. So if I was to go in and say, I would like to pay this bill, I don't have a passcode.
Is there a mailing address on that account? Did they show you a mailing address?
No.
So they're probably getting
he couldn't get into it.
Paperless bills, so it must be going to a email address. The monthly bill.
Yeah, and it's right there. It's like David is financially responsible, but the contact email is Kamel.
Well, it's certainly an interesting thing, and I'm glad we're getting this out there because, like once we said again, that it doesn't matter what the phone number is. It's the account has been active since David set it up in October of 2014. It's gone through a couple of times. It seems that it has been suspended, but the account is still there, and it's currently, as of today, in an active status, generating a monthly bill that someone is paying. And so that's a question, I think, and once we get this video out there, if anyone in this background or in this industry could, comment below, because I can't think of a situation where you'd still be wanting to use that phone or use that line, or that account, I should say.
Yep, I agree.
Greg, what do you have any thoughts, Greg, on why an account would be in the name of David Crowley, under the business name David Crowley LLC?
No, it doesn't make sense. No.
Yeah. And it would be interesting to see who's actually paying that bill. So if you know of anything, please leave your comment below, because that's an expensive bill with two lines beneath it. And wow, I don't know, but hopefully we'll trigger something that someone could comment below.
And just so everybody knows, Sophia and I are going through the phone records with a fine-tooth comb, and we will have some extremely interesting information for you regarding that as well in the near future.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to get out, because those phone records came out, and some of those files, those PDF files, are quite large, and we've been putting together some of these spreadsheets, and finding some very interesting things. So that'll be coming out once that gets wrapped up. But we wanted to get this information out there right away with this account number, because this is odd, because this is an ongoing account that is live, active, and being paid for by someone to this day on a monthly basis.
Yeah, a dead family's cell phone account is open 4 years later, and still active and still being paid. There's something wrong there.
Yeah,
absolutely. That was not the response I was expecting to get when I went in.
No,
at all.
I mean, and this has been turned off. So it was turned off at least by 2/18/2015, according to this file right here, and then all of a sudden the bill is paid, and I mean, look at where the bill is paid to. This is where they're billing it. You would have to live here in order to change that billing address. I don't understand.
You would have to have his personal information to be able to get that account started back up again. So if it's not David, who is doing it? Is it fraud? You have to ask that question. This person is dead. His account is active. What's going on?
This account shouldn't. I don't see any reason why this account should be active at all.
Yeah, and those for watching on the screen there, it's an account that ends in a 247. That is the actual account number at AT&T, and the owner of that account is David Crowley. So I would agree with Sophia that this seems to be something fraudulent in in some sort. Very strange would be the low end of things. It could be fraudulent.
Yes.
Who knows?
Yes, it was not the answer I was expecting. It was not the response, but it was still active. You can imagine my shock. Poor guy. But, yeah.
All right, well, that's all
this is something that needs to be looked in.
That's all that I had. Did you have anything else, Catherine, to mention, or Greg, or Sophia?
No.
No, I just, again, just want to reiterate what you have already stated and hope everyone understands the point we are making is that the account of a dead family is active and still being paid. Who's doing it? Is it fraud? Is it the family who's kept it open but has decided, which I don't see how they legally do it, but it's something to seriously think about. This family died 4 years later, their accounts are still being paid, and it is still open, which should not be. So like Dan said, if anyone out there has any good explanation for this, please let us know.
Very good.
Thank you, Catherine.
All right, so please leave your comments below with any suggestions, and we'll get this posted out there on YouTube, and feel free to share it. Thank you for listening.